Welcome to the Winnebago County Register of Deeds segment of our Candidates Forum, presented by the League of Women Voters of Winnebago County and Oshkosh Media. This event is being simulcast on 101.9 Oshkosh FM Community Radio. I'm Kathy Propp, Winnebago County League of Women Voters, your moderator. The League seeks to inform citizens about candidates. We do not support or oppose any political party or any candidate. Joining me on the panel for this forum are League members Frankie Mengling and Ann Marshall, our co-president. 4 Republican candidates are vying to be their party's nominee on the November 8 ballot. They are Caroline Carver, Paul Esslinger, Jay Schrader, and Natalie Strohmeyer. On August 9, you must vote a partisan ballot for the party of your choice. Democrat Nick Gabert and Independent Jeanette Merton will also appear on the November 8 ballot and be invited to join the winner of this primary for a forum in October prior to the November 8 election. Our timekeeper will give you cues. Thank you for keeping your answers short so we can cover issues. Audience questions are welcome. Please submit them in writing to the League representative. Candidates received the first 2 questions in advance. First question is, tell us about your qualifications and why you wish to become the Winnebago County Register of Deeds. Time limit is 1 minute. I'm going to do this alphabetically, starting with Caroline Carver.
Thank you, Kathy. I'd like to thank everybody for this opportunity of being here, and good evening. Qualifications, or a little bit about myself. I'm a local attorney here in the area. I've been practicing law now for 28 years. I'm also a retired Navy officer with 20 years of service. I live here in Oshkosh with my 2 children. I'm a lifelong county resident. I'm also a member and dues-paying county Republican, which I think is important since this is a Republican ticket that we're talking about here. And the reason I'm running, I think I'm the most qualified candidate, and I think, and I know actually, that I'm the only candidate that has the former 4-time elected Register of Deeds Julie Pagel's full support and endorsement.
Thank you. Paul Esslinger.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for holding the debate. Thank Julie Pagel for her years of service to the community. And I'd also like to thank the other candidates running to give the citizens a choice in this position. In regards to my qualifications, I was honored to be elected 6 times by the public and to serve the citizens as a public servant. I served on the Oshkosh City Council for 11 years as a council member. The last 2 years served as the mayor of the city of Oshkosh. I have extensive experience in the community helping citizens and contributing time and money to events and organizations. I've dealt with many budgets over the years. I've had personal and household budgets, of course, that have to be handled. Business budgets. I was in advertising sales and handled advertising sales budgets for TV and radio stations. And municipal budgets, of course. The Register of Deeds office has a little over $1 million budget. I had a hand in reviewing and working on several $60 million budgets with the city of Oshkosh. And some of those budgets I didn't support because I believe the taxpayers couldn't support the increases they were asking for. So in summary, I'm saying I have municipal experience, budget experience, working extensively with the public. As a real estate agent, I have knowledge of the real estate transaction process, and I have the honor of being elected several times by the citizens of this community.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks.
Jay Schrader.
Hello. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters, everyone coming out in TV land. My name is Jay Schrader. I'm going to make this real simple and to the point. I am married, I have 4 children. 2 kids are going to UW Oshkosh next fall. 3 will be in there next spring. I own a mortgage company. I've been in the mortgage business for 25 years. Every year I have to go through continuing education. This is last year's packet I have to go through, federal and state laws, and I have to pass a test. So I have the experience dealing with mortgages. 195 days. Everyone know what that is? That's the amount of days that the Register of Deeds office has been vacant. After the election, how many days are going to be vacant? 359 days. That's how many days it's been vacant. What does that mean? As a conservative first and a Republican, we have to make cuts. I don't know if you're going to hear about that from any other here, but the 4-year budget for the Register of Deeds position compensation package is $400,000. Who wants to cut it 25%? Jay Schrader. 100,000 in savings. Thank you.
Thank you. Natalie Strohmeyer.
Thank you. And thank you for hosting this forum. I currently work in the Register of Deeds office in Outagamie County. I've been in the office for over 34 years. Been the Deputy Register of Deeds for over 17 years. I previously held a real estate broker's license. I'm also on an employee roundtable committee at Outagamie County, which goes over upcoming changes to the county, and I enjoy being on that. I attend a lot of committee meetings and county board meetings when time permits. I enjoy working with the people. I have an associate degree in accounting and banking and finance. I've taken numerous seminars to keep up with what's going on.
Thank you. Now you have received this question in advance. Time limit, 1 minute. If you are elected, what will be your priorities as the County Register of Deeds? And this time we'll start in reverse order with Natalie Strohmeyer.
The priorities will be maintaining the programs that the previous register, Julie Pagel, has implemented, and look for new updates that will help the office. Over the last year, there's been employees that have retired with years of experience. So it would be to evaluate the current staff for their work experience and to train and cross-train employees and to have a good working environment and to help customers in a friendly, informative manner.
Okay. Jay Schrader.
Kind of relates to my first answer. In Winnebago County, the average salary for everyone is $47,000. So my question is, how can we pay the Register of Deeds the compensation package and salary of $100,000? Now, we have to lead by our own example, and that is cut the position. It's been vacant. The governor sent out a recommendation to apply. One of my opponents, Natalie Strohmeyer, applied. He didn't appoint her, and she signed the Walker recall petition against him. Now, when I mention that, my wife says that you have to have good judgment in those type of things. So when you run an office, you'll have good judgment. But getting back to fiscal responsibility, I went into the Register of Deeds office, and how you do it as a manager, I ran a mortgage company, is I went in and I asked the staff, what do you need? That's what you do. You talk to them directly, and then when they say we need feedback or hiring, or we process, I think, 7,500 original documents every year, do they need the personnel to help get it done? That's what you do. You have one-on-one management.
Thank you, Jay. Paul Esslinger.
Thank you. My priorities would be the opinions and expectations of all the parties using the office, namely the taxpayers, the general public, professionals using the office, title companies and attorneys, and the employees in the Register of Deeds office. From the taxpayer point of view, I'm sure they'd be assured, so they can be assured tax dollars are being spent wisely for the office is transparent, and the office is being held accountable to the taxpayer. As far as the general public, that they would be treated with respect when using the office, employees will be helpful, the office has convenient hours of operation, and that they have a seamless interaction with the office. As far as professionals using the office, the same as the general public, but also accuracy in the legal documents and timeliness of entering the information. And as far as the employees in the Register of Deeds office, to have a safe work environment, treated fairly and with respect, encouraged to speak up and offer solutions, be rewarded for those solutions, have up-to-date technology to do their jobs, and to make them feel that they are a team member in the office.
Thank you, Paul. Caroline.
Thank you. One of the reasons I'm running, and one of the reasons I believe Julie's endorsing me and supporting me, is that I'd like to continue the hard work that she's done for the past 12 years. Julie's indexed all the real estate deeds going back to 1970 so far. Her goal is, of course, to index further back to 1935, and she's indicated to me that she believes that's about a 1.5-year process left to complete. The other thing I'd like to address is the office runs on a big budget. I don't think many people understand that the Register of Deeds office is the only profit or revenue operating center, or I should say generating center in the county. So there is no need. It basically funds itself, plus has a profit. That profit of at least $300-some thousand returns back to the county general fund. And so she's run the office very efficiently. She's run it very accurately. I'd like to continue the relationship, obviously, with the people who use the office.
Okay.
I work with them in my private practice.
Thank you, Caroline. We'll
Thank you.
go on to more questions now. Ann, do you have a question?
I had to do some homework to come up with any questions because I was not familiar with the Register of Deeds. Julie Pagel's been there for years, and people before have been there for years. So the Wisconsin statutes, Chapter 5943, entitled Register of Deeds, is where I went, and it listed the duties, fees, and deputies, and goes into great detail on each of those three categories. Is there any need, with all that detail, is there any great need for the Register of Deeds to exercise judgment? If so, what situations might call for that?
Who wants to tackle that first? Okay, Jay.
Sure, I could. When you're, as an example, when a mortgage is filed, you know, you have a template of what mortgages in the past have been filed, but you check to make sure the legal descriptions match the mortgage amount, the mortgagee, things like that. That would be detail. And who owns the property, who is it buying it from, you know, just to be accuracy, because that's important. It's people's houses. Or in death certificates, the cause of death from the coroner, you know, it's to be accurate. It's a very important office.
Do you need to use
Do you need to exercise judgment?
judgment?
Sure,
I know you need to make sure those are very accurate.
Your judgment would always be like how I was raised. Always do your best. If you think, well, I can let this slide, or, you know, the comma is in the right place, or the legal description. But you should always try to do it, because it's important. Whether it's a marriage certificate, a death certificate, real estate mortgage, or somebody being discharged out of the military. Those are all things, and they should be done really accurate.
Paul, you had your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. Well, this clearly is a management position, and so when you are in a management position, you use judgment every day. And in the qualifications, the other thing I was talking about, the day-to-day operations, you have to use judgment of whether the office is living up to the expectations of the people that use it. You have to be critical of the employees. Are they treating the public, you know, the best they should? And are they being compensated the best they should? Are there things that the office can use? So you have to use that judgment every day to then go to the county board every year and decide if that office needs something, or if there's something that the citizens that use that office need better support for.
Caroline?
Sure. It obviously is not a discretionary position. It's a statutory position. And I would agree with Paul that it requires leadership, and I think that's the strong reason that you need a Register of Deeds individual in that position. Not only does that individual lead the office and control and hopefully mentor her staff, but she also is accountable, or he or she, I should say, is accountable to any errors that do occur. So you need somebody to run that. She also is a figurehead. She has to go before the county board to pass a budget, to propose a budget. She also is a representative with the Wisconsin Registered Deeds Association, which meets with all the other Register of Deeds throughout the state and promotes and encourages legislation to protect the local offices, and also to you know, to have cohesiveness, if there can be, with certain comparable, I guess, same goals of each individual local office.
Okay. Natalie?
Yes, you have to use good judgments. There comes every day, there's questions as far as the statutory requirements of what's recorded on a paper, but sometimes they come in, attorneys have a different opinion of how they interpret the statute, and you have to work through that. And some of the ways of working through that is the Wisconsin Register of Deeds Association. You can talk to the other registers as to what their opinions are and make the final judgment on it. You do the budget. I've been on a lot of committees and helped with working out the budget and that stuff, so you have to follow the statutes, but there's a lot of judgment that you have to use on a daily basis.
Okay, Frankie, your question.
My question comes from people who don't live in Wisconsin. And it's Article 6, Section 4 of the Wisconsin Constitution specifies that the Register of Deeds is to be an elected office. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't have one. You've made it very apparent that they're necessary. But do you think it should be an elected office?
And who wants to take
And why?
Paul?
I think, Frankie, you could probably argue both ways. I think ultimately I would fall on the side it should be an elected office, but running as a Republican, Democrat, or Independent I think is really rather silly. We found, I think, in a lot of cases where there are elections, citizens get to make the choice of who runs that office or who is the political person in whatever municipality or state or federal office. And voters usually make good decisions. So I think that ultimately would be the reason why I would think that having it as an elected position would be good. However, someone could argue that the county executive should hire someone. And I think that's a good argument, but again, I think I would fall that having an elected is a good idea.
Jay?
I think the viewpoint of a lot of people in this country is we're losing control of our government. So the best way to keep control is have elected officials. And going back to that other question you had brought up, if I would be elected Register of Deeds, what I would do is contact the county board committee individuals, whoever is involved in the kind of overseeing of the department, and give them tours right away. So they're brought on board right away what's going on. So no surprises either from the staff or from the county board to make it smooth and operate and serve the public.
Natalie?
I feel that it should be an elected position, not necessarily, like Paul said, Democrat, Republican, or Independent, but I feel that we are accountable to the people that we serve, and this is a good way of doing it.
Caroline?
I would agree. I mean, the statutes indicate that it's an elected position, so regardless of the party that's elected to it, you're held accountable to the people. They're the ones who elect you, and as long as that's the way it is, I guess that's the way it is. We can have the debate about many positions, I think, that are elected in the state of Wisconsin, and whether they should be appointed or have campaigns such as this and be elected. But it is what it is.
All right, thank you. Ann has a question.
What is the most significant challenge you foresee if you become the new Register of Deeds?
Paul?
I would say the most significant challenge would be living up to the job that Julie Pagel did. I look at this position, and you know, one of the panelists said they had to do some research to find out, you know, the position. It's kind of looks. This reminds me of I'm using NFL, National Football League analogy here. If an announcer does not use the name of an offensive or defensive lineman during the game, they're doing a good job. And here you never see the media, and the media loves to find things to use to print on for scandals and whatever else. You never hear anything about the Register of Deeds office. So in my opinion, that fact means that it has been run very, very well. And so any one of us or the other two that will be running in November, I think that should be all of our goal, is to make sure that we live up to those standards in how she ran that office.
Who wants it now? Jay?
I don't look at it maybe a challenge and opportunity. You know, we all have cell phones, and I believe the power and the memory capacity of a cell phone now has as much as the whole federal government had in 1971, I think. So the opportunity is, as technology becomes easier and easier, like an example, appraisals. I used to have to wait in snail mail to get the appraisal. It would take a while. I have it emailed to me. You know, that's the advantage. And this office can harness that. It'll be easier and easier, and we can serve the public better.
Okay. Caroline?
Again, I don't feel that it's going to be so much of a challenge as to continue the continuity, continue the efficiency in the office that clearly Julie has, operated under for the past 12 years. I think it's more of an issue of who would be best qualified to do those things, who has the skills, who has the experience, who has the leadership, who has the contacts with the individuals that use that office. And again, it's a very limited knowledge the public has about what the office does. But it does need to be run efficiently, and it certainly needs to continue its updating with the modern times as far as technology is concerned.
Natalie?
Yeah, and I don't feel that I feel that it's an opportunity for me to advance. Being the Deputy Register of Deeds in Outagamie County, having to do a lot of these roles already, know how to take the papers in, how to do the budget, and everything like that, I feel that would make it a good fit to jump right in, to be able to help the staff with the absence of Julie, and also to be able to advance what Julie has done over these years.
Okay, thank you. Unfortunately, our time is up. This forum has been co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Winnebago County and also Ripon area for the congressional portion, and Oshkosh Media. Thanks to Ann Marshall, Frankie Mangling, and Ripon League member Gary Wetzel for asking questions in the earlier segment, and most importantly, thanks to the Republican Party and Democratic Party candidates for participating tonight. The partisan primary election is Tuesday, August 9. I've said this several times, but I need to say it again. You must vote a partisan ballot of your choice. The polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. You may register when you go to vote on Election Day. Proof of residency is required. You must also show a photo voter ID in order to vote. To obtain an absentee ballot, write or call your municipal clerk or stop at that office and vote between now and August 9. Actually, a day or two earlier than that. Find information about voter registration, polling place, and ballot at www.myvote.wi.gov. Our democracy depends on citizen involvement. Please exercise your right to vote. Primaries are critically important. Thank you. Let's give the candidates a round of applause.